This is Adventure for Life. I'm Joel. This is day 4 of the Northeast BDR. We'll be finishing section 3 today and doing section 4. We'll be going through a little part of Massachusetts, little part of Connecticut, and then get into Vermont, where the infamous class 4 roads start. We're leaving 220 miles today, so we're leaving Bascom Lodge atop Mount Greylock. You're seeing some of the views that we saw last night, obviously this morning. It's cool, 48 degrees, woo, 48 degrees, 6:50 in the morning. Again, 220 miles, so this will probably be a longer day. That's one of the reasons we're starting a little bit earlier, hour earlier, actually. And yeah, so, no, I thought those were lakes in the distance. There are some lakes down there, but it's kind of cool being above the clouds. So you see the clouds there. Pretty neat. Maybe it's fog, I don't know. Anyway, looking forward to today. Killington, Vermont, class 4 roads, 220 miles. This is the descent down from Mount Greylock. I don't know that I shot any footage on the way up. It's about a 20-minute ride of this up the mountain and obviously back down the mountain. Really pretty approach. So I thought I'd give you a look. We're headed to the campsite to pick up one of the guys that camped last night. So we immediately started the back road section. We went by the campground and we're back. In fact, this may be what we rode down yesterday. It looks familiar to me. A lot of fresh dirt, so it's possible this is it. Anyway, start of a new day. This is a little fun. We're riding through the foggy cemetery. How about that? You can tell by the gravestones that some of that's old school, some of it's not, but some of it's been there for a while. I thought I'd show you a little fog. When we were riding up that little rocky section, one of the guys took a little spill, so we went back and helped him get up. That was, it was not all that much more difficult than what we had done before, but the rocks were a little looser, so that makes it a little more tough. Anyway, I'll video this section, I guess, because it's yeah, you see me bouncing around and spinning, and I need to be going a little faster. That's why we're out here. Have a little fun, challenge yourself. So we've been in this rocky section for a while. Hit some little ruts and stuff back there, so I thought I'd show you a little change in terrain. You see these little ruts here and whatnot. Not a big deal, but it's a change, so that's what I'm showing you. It has been, you see some rocks there. It's been rocky, like the section I videoed back there for, probably 15-20 minutes, something like that. And it's a fun little section. relatively slow. So we hit a short section of pavement and obviously back to the non-pavement. So it turns out Vermont is the only state, I don't know if they're the only state, but they're the state up here that rates their unmaintained roads, and so that's where this term Class 4 road came from. John and Jim have done this in the Northeast BDR before, and they said that what we just did was the equivalent of a Vermont Class 4 road. It just is in Massachusetts, so that's why it's not called one. But anyway, so we'll see some more of that kind of thing today. Right now we're, you know, on a hard packed road in backcountry Massachusetts. A little pavement here, but it's really pretty back here. Canopy, whatnot. Anyway, I think we're going to be on pavement for a little while. There's been a lot, of course, again it's September, but lots of empty streams on this trip. Or not necessarily empty, but very little water in them. And that quickly, we get off the paved road. Okay, so we just went through another little section of pavement and got onto this, and this is a little bit different than what we've been seeing. I'm going to use the D word. There's a little bit of dust that you can probably see, but not too bad. Sun peeks through, it's a little, you lose visibility. That's not too bad either. 54 degrees, 8:40 in the morning. We've gone 30 miles, so we've got another 190 of the total of 220 to go. And we're stopping for something. Raycroft Outlook, whatever that is. I'm taking the alternate route here. Maybe we're going to do a little hill climb or something. Well, you got some kind of lake up there, out there. Okay, this is the overlook. We get to see a bunch of power lines, it appears. Okay, we walked way too far, and I'm not being negative. We walked way too far downhill to see a river and a dam and the tops of some tall hills and some power lines too. But anyway, you know, again, they call it adventure biking for a reason, and you don't always get the benefit that you feel like you ought to. I'll be breathing hard when I get to the top of the hill, by the way. Okay, I was waiting because the other guys were getting go a little slow. This is a rocky descent here. I don't know that it's going to be all that difficult, but it'll be a little bit different, so we'll see how this goes. What you're supposed to do is keep your weight back, don't lean on the handlebars, blah blah blah. You can see this is not, I mean, the rocks are decent sized, but it's not very difficult. It's fun. Again, I prefer going downhill because you got the, you know, gravity pulling you down, and you're not having to try to grab, climb or whatever. Again, I'm not sure why we're stopping here, but maybe there's another little rocky descent here. video this too, just because I'm gonna pick a little different line just for the fun of it. I'm just trying to go straight down. Again, these rocks are not loose. I mean, there's some loose ones, but there's not much loose, and so you get good traction and not that big a deal. Probably 5 or 10 minutes past the last video, and if you look over there, it says state line. So, and then that little rock says Massachusetts 1896, if you can see it. And so we're leaving Massachusetts and heading into Vermont. So we're about 45 miles into our 220-mile day, riding down another little backcountry road in Vermont now. Interestingly, right as we pulled onto this road, there was a little sign that said no ATVs. I mean, this is a public road, but I think basically they were saying if you don't have a licensed mode of transportation, a car, a motorcycle, or whatever, if they don't want you down here. I guess maybe the ATVers come down here and tear stuff up or something. But anyway, I hadn't seen one before, so I thought that was kind of interesting. And there's Jim, thinking he wants to ride beside me, which is fine. We'll record this little incline here, no big deal. A little breakfast break. I got some gas a few minutes ago. We're back off pavement. Got this little lake here, pretty nice. On hardback dirt and gravel again. Again, this is 220 miles today, and the majority of that is going to be off pavement, so it's going to be a pretty long day today. And we'll see how many of these class 4 roads, you know, come up. Obviously, if it's this kind of off pavement, then we're going to make pretty good time. Those class 4 roads, you're going pretty slow, you know, 10, 12, 15 miles an hour. The temperature's 62. It's 10:30 in the morning. Beautiful day. Again, we're in Vermont. Probably give you a little look at the countryside. It's about the same as what we've been seeing, maybe a little bit different than New York and Massachusetts. I don't know if the trees are different or not. They look maybe a little bit different, but a lot of the same, and that's not a complaint. It's, you've heard me say a bunch of times, cool, shade, tree covered, canopy, very, very pleasant, really enjoyable, and totally unlike Idaho and Washington. This has been a very relaxing ride so far, and it's because of roads like this. Okay, we did that last tree covered road that looked exactly like this one for about 20 minutes, and then we made a turn, and now we're on this tree covered road that looks exactly the same. And that's not a complaint, it's just me telling you what we're seeing. And again, it's really peaceful and really enjoyable, just cruising through the woods. Nobody's out here but us, and having something pretty to look at. So Vermont so far gets an A. Okay, this is an interesting little section here. We're going along this creek here, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's, there's a 30-foot drop off, whatever. It's anywhere from a 10 to that 30-foot drop or whatever. Now, of course, we've come out of it, but anyway, it was kind of cool there for a second when we were up next to that creek bed. Again, there's not been much water at all. So obviously we're in the dry part of the year, so that's why the creek's now over here on this side now. But Now it's back over here. So this is cool. I mean, I better watch what I'm doing. That's for sure. Okay, so there's a little warning sign that said sharp curves and narrow ridges, so I figured I'd give y'all a quick view of that. We got separated from the other guys just for a minute. I see one of them up there, so we'll catch them quickly. We were going through a little town and happened to be some traffic that creeped up, so anyway, no big deal. A little creek there. Alright, a little more Vermont countryside. Just a little rocky here. Another stream over here that we're going beside. Doing a little incline this time. Yeah, really, you know, I said this in New York, that what I saw in New York was what I expected, and I would say the same thing about this. I mean, we've been just miles and miles and miles of roads just like this, and you see there's a driveway for a house. So there have been some houses out here, but this has been a lot more sparsely populated than New York was, at least the sections we went through. So anyway, again, been really nice. Still 65 degrees, so almost 15 to noon. So wow, look at this. Got us a lily pad covered pond we're going through, and that just may be a big old beaver dam. Nah, it's not. There just happened to be a limb that fell there, but anyway, that's pretty cool. Okay, we stopped in the little town of Grafton, Vermont, and it's right here on this little creek. They got them something to eat, and unfortunately I got to talk on the phone with work. Anyway, that's why you retire. That sign, if you didn't see it, said 10 miles of winding dirt road is what we can anticipate. So looking forward to that, and when we see something that's really cool, I'll talk to you again. So we're in the Vermont countryside, and you've got the proverbial rock walls on the side of the road. There's some more. It is really pretty out here. Again, just really relaxing. Nice little house, little farmhouse, nice little pond. This is supposedly 10 miles worth of this. So we'll see what else we see, but really, there's some more, another rock wall. So really pretty countryside, really relaxing, really enjoyable. Well, in the adventure riding category, or it's an adventure, there was a road closed sign back there. Yeah, we've seen 3 or 4 of them already, which we've chosen to not observe and have gone through and had no problem. In this particular case, the road being closed, from what I see, there's a bridge that's totally out. There's a truck parked in front of it. There are workmen on site, and there's no way we're getting through there because I don't think there's a bridge. So John and Jim are pondering what the plan's going to be. So now we've gone from a closed road, and the bridge sure enough was not complete, so we could not get across, to this road, which was marked dead end. So we've also been down at least 4 or 5 dead end roads that were not dead-end roads, at least by my definition. We just were able to get through no problem. I'm not saying you'd want to take your 2022 Mercedes down the roads we went to, but on these bikes, no problem. Anywho, so now trying to determine if this ray will get us there. And the decision is, it will. So we'll go down here a little, and we'll see what happens. And creek, little, who knows what that is. Some houses down here. It's probably just a quarter mile from where we were, and I wish I'd have got a shot of it, but we just went by this house that had a tremendous amount of firewood, so much so that I would guess that's their primary or only source of heat, was some kind of wood burning stove. And they had a sign, a big sign hung on the front of the house. It was a nice house that said, "Go away." So that was kind of funny. I think we may have pulled up, this may sure enough be a dead-end road. So I believe we totally backtracked all of that dirt section. When I say all that dirt section, probably 10-15 minutes, because, you know, obviously the primary route was closed because the bridge was out. Secondary route was a dead end, and there was no tertiary route, so we backtracked. I guess this is the tertiary route, but anyway, backtracked. We're on asphalt, going around all that stuff, and we'll pick the organized route back up somewhere up here. I haven't looked on my GPS to see when we'll do that. Look, we're back on the dirt, but we're not on the actual trail. If you can see that at all, the GPS obviously tells me when we're on the programmed track and we're not on it, but John's found an alternate route, so we'll see how this goes. I see a lot of cuts, so they obviously timbered this section over here. You see the trees are a lot smaller and they're not as close, and I see a bunch of cut stumps, so they must have timbered that some time ago. We're back on the official route. It was probably about a 20-minute go-round, something like that. This is the official route, although those two cars we just passed, we have seen very, very, very few cars once we got off the paved roads, even though there's been, you know, some houses and whatnot. Anyway, back on the official route in backcountry Vermont. So there's a little bit of change. Pretty steep downhill here. Doesn't look like it's going to last very long, but it's neat. Well, there's a lot for sale. So this is a pretty cool place. Somebody's got another rock wall, but they've opened this up. Apparently, obviously, they're raising hay. You know, the vast majority of what we've seen been what's, you know, over here on the right, the trees and all that stuff. Oh, there's some turkeys. So it's kind of nice to see an opening and you know, so you kind of see through the distance. Unfortunately, those trees blocked it. That mountain there was a ski resort. I'm not sure which one it was, but you could see the runs cut in the side of the mountain. Unfortunately, I didn't get enough of that. But again, yes, we've been surrounded by trees so much. Anytime you get an open view, it's kind of nice to take a picture. There have been lots and lots of just very pretty, quaint little houses out in the middle of nowhere, just like that. That we've seen. There's another. They're all, not, I shouldn't say all, the vast majority of them are spotless, besides that one. And, you know, very clean and neat. So it's been pretty. I wish I could have got a little bit more of that ski resort. Anyway, maybe we'll see it later. Still in the Green Mountain National Forest. We're back on pavement and have been for a couple miles now. But it's really been pretty in here, which you would kind of expect if it's a national forest. Pretty thick. I don't know that there's what's here besides hiking trails and whatnot, but maybe we'll see something a little bit later. Anyway, there you have it. Lots of trees, lots of green, real thick. Well, we got on the pavement for a little while. We got to this little river here, ran into some guys who appear to be riding. Same thing we are. They're on kind of dirt bike kind of bikes rather than the bigger bikes like we are. Anyway, pretty little stream here. Beautiful Vermont countryside. Got some mountains in the background. A little bit of a change. Supposedly we're coming up to the class 4 roads pretty soon, so we'll give that a shot and see what happens. So we are entering one of the class 4 roads, and it is narrow, and it is rocky, but not too rocky at the moment. So this is going to be, at least at this moment, looks like it's going to be lots and lots and lots of fun. Maybe you're tired of hearing me say it. I love these little narrow sections like this. That had some rock to it for sure. Little mud, loose rock. Mud again. So unfortunately, John had a little issue, so we'll shut her down. That bike went down, and this is, you know, this is rocky. And I mean, it's different. It's big rocks. So you hit a rock and you get bounced all over the place. So we're turning around and getting out of here. Okay, this turned out to be discretion is the better part of valor. We are turning around and going back. Those were some big rocks. Jim told us he had done this a couple times before and fell multiple times and swore he'd never do it again. So this supposedly is the hardest class 4, and of course we made it this far, so you know this isn't the harder part. But anyway, so I think we're going to try some others, but we're going to punt on this one. But I told John I'd have felt cheated if we didn't try, so we gave it a whirl. So we're back on the asphalt after our failed Vermont Class 4 unmaintained road attempt. We're going to try it again tomorrow on a different Class 4. Again, supposedly that's the hardest one, and Jim and John have both done it. So we'll see what, again, we're going to Killington, Vermont. I'd say we got 40 miles to go would be my guess. Alright, so we're riding on Vermont Highway 100. We're headed to Killington, Vermont, home of a skiing resort. That's where we're going to be staying tonight. Looks like there's a lot of vacationers and weekenders. This is Labor Day weekend, so lots of people out. This Highway 100 is supposed to be pretty, so of course I think all of Vermont's probably pretty. Okay, this is where we're staying, the North Star Inn. It's pretty cool. We went by Killington Ski Resort. There wasn't much there. I could see a line, a wire for the lift, but that's about it, so I didn't bother filming anything. But this looks like a pretty nice place. Anyhow, we're in Killington, Vermont. Did 220 miles today, plus some, because we had a little backtracking. But all in all, a good day.